Hello and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, take a look around and please consider subscribing. If you're returning, thank you so much for your patronage. Today I want to talk about something that's highly important to all of us: fear.
And you were radiant with glory.
So there's this movie coming out soon. It's called Dune, and it is a film adaptation, probably the second film adaptation, and there's been a TV miniseries about it as well. It's not easily adapted to film because it's really not science fiction. But anyway, I digress. The film has this wonderful line in it that Paul Atreides learns, and it is a mantra that he says when he's afraid. He says, "Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that leads to total obliteration." And then there's a lot more that goes to that, about facing your fear, allowing it to pass through you, and that only I remain. It's a whole line, and it is so impactful. And if you want to see the fun side of that line, Google Earthworm Jim. His dog used to say it. I'm not going to tell you what Earthworm Jim is. You're going to have to Google it. It's quite special. But here's the deal. What is fear? Fear is one of the most powerful, lowest vibrations there are. And there's a lot of them. Greed, jealousy, hatred, bitterness, all of these things are also low vibrational, right? Fear is the big baddie, okay? It is the lowest of the low. And here's what I mean by vibrational, okay? Some people who watch my channel may not understand what that means, or even care, or maybe you think I've gone off the deep end somewhere. What it means is, when you get caught up in fear, when you're thinking, you're manifesting all the time. You are manifesting the reality that you think about all the time. Whatever you're obsessed with, you're creating. This is a law of the universe. This is how it works. It's like gravity. You can't stop doing it. It's not something special you have to learn. You're doing it. But when you don't know you're doing it, and you allow fear to get into your life, then you create depression and anxiety, and you create a whole host of other problems for yourself, health problems. I mean, this entire vlog that I'm creating here really had its core on looking at your health problems, because they were my health problems. And how did I get over those? Or what do I do to manage those on a daily basis? Well, I'll tell you what I've learned to do, and that is to not let fear take me over. Now, I wished I could say that I do this all the time and it's easy, because it's not easy. There's nothing about it that's easy. Your mind does one thing: thinks. That's what your mind does. That's what it's supposed to do. It thinks. Just like your hands grasp, your legs walk or move, your feet do what feet do, your nose does what a nose does, your eyes do what eyes do. Point is this: your mind thinks. That's what the mind is supposed to do. And so, a lot of people think that meditation is about quietening your mind. It's not about quietening your mind at all. It's learning how to focus by looking at your mind, by noticing it. Just noticing how your mind goes from a focus for a fraction of a second, and then you're spinning webs all the time in other directions. It's very difficult to manage, but if you'll notice it, that's how you can think differently and think in ways that help you. Fear doesn't help you. Fear paralyzes you. Fear actually creates health problems. When you are living with depression, anxiety, and you're living with a chronic condition, the fear that you get makes it worse. And I know this for true. I'm going to give you an example. I've come back from not being able to walk to walking. I live with chronic pain every day, but it's the same pain, right? So I know what the pain is like. Several weeks ago, I had a new pain, and it was quite severe. It was so severe that I had to stop what I was doing, and just it was just me and the pain. I could do nothing else. And this happens periodically, but this was new. So when I have new pain, I'm going to confess to you, fear got a hold of me. And as I began to fear, it got worse and worse and worse. And I almost went to the emergency room. But as I was writhing in that was just off the scale, level 15 pain, new pain, I don't know where it was coming from. I remembered my mantra. I'm whole, I'm healthy, I'm well. I know it, I believe it, and it's true. And I came to an understanding by thinking, hey, I'm making it worse. Yep, it hurts, but I'm making it worse with my fear. And so I began to say my mantra. I began to say it in between grunts and squirms and everything else. I began to say my mantra. And it took a couple of hours. And I was battling fear. I mean, fear would come into my mind. I'm like, this is really not going away. And I would just say my mantra, and I would just say my mantra because I believe it. And I'm not going to give in to fear. I don't know what it was. But I had some residual symptoms for a week or two. And every time I felt them, I would say my mantra. And so it's gone. I don't know what it was. Doesn't matter what it was, because I know that if I keep fear away, I can conquer what needs to be conquered. Because I know that when I put my thought in motion, I'm going to receive the things that I'm thinking about. And I believe these things. So if you're living with anxiety, you're living with depression, you live with a chronic condition, notice what your mind is doing when you feel that fear. You'll feel the symptom come on, whatever it is. And you'll instantly be gripped by fear, and that causes anxiety. And I'm telling you now, anxiety is a wily beast. Anxiety is the thing that will wake you out of a cold sleep. Anxiety is the thing that has a systemic response throughout your entire body. Okay? Your breathing gets labored. You start sweating. Your heart's palpitating. Okay? You're shaking. You feel like you're going to die. You feel like you're having a heart attack. I know I've been to the emergency room twice, years and years ago, because I thought I was having a heart attack when in fact I was having a panic attack. So they're very serious. So when your mind is not in a good place and your thoughts take you to fear, then panic is very close behind. And when panic sets off, you're along for the ride until you learn how to manage panic. And I'll talk about that in another video. The important thing is, don't let fear control you. How do you do that? Just sit. I'm not going to give you some meditation thing to do. Just sit. Sit quietly. And notice how your mind races. How you can't stop thinking. Just notice it. Notice where your mind goes. Now, meditation would be do some breathing and focus on that. You can focus on breathing. You can stare at something. Preferably not Facebook while you're scrolling. It's not really going to work that way. But you can stare at something. You can stare at a flame. You can stare at a picture on a wall. You can stare at a doorknob. It doesn't matter. It becomes your focus. Stare at that. Think about only that. If you want to use your breath, think about breathing in. Think about breathing out. Notice that in less than 30 seconds, your mind is going to race. Just notice it. Once you begin noticing it often, you can begin redirecting your mind to more positive things. And then fear doesn't grip you. And when it does get bad and you feel it coming on and you're going to have a spell of some kind, you know how to manage and you know how to fight and you know how to get over it, to get through it. It's a better term. Get through it. Because we all deal with it. This world brings suffering, and it brings suffering to everyone. Don't let fear put a large boulder on your head when you're already suffering. Thanks for watching. And if you found a vibe with the message, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can also hit the bell if you want a little reminder when new content is posted. Think and be well today, my friend. And peace.